got my applique piece right here. I've already ironed heat and bond on the back of my shape, and I've ironed it onto my background that I want to applique on. And there's a couple of thoughts that I have about it. One thing is I have an open-toed foot. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see this?
If I get in there.
See this? It's, oh, here, let me take it off the machine.
That's a good idea.
So that you can see it. It's open-toed. So there's nothing in here. It's all open. And so you can see exactly where your needle goes.
Did you know that's the only time I've ever sewn over my finger with the sewing machine is with that stinking foot?
How did you get your finger in there?
Because it fits.
Oh my gosh. You can't play anymore, Jenny.
I know. It wasn't a baby lock.
So, well, if I can get the foot on, we'll be good.
There we go.
Okay. And so I've set my machine to a quilting stitch. This is a baby lock. What one am I working on?
The Altair?
I don't know. I don't.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, they're all kind of like this. This upper end of them are. And here's the quilting. Not the quilting. The blanket stitch that I use, and it just doesn't go across over and back. It goes 1, 2, 3, or 4 and over. So you can count how many stitches it's taking between every jump stitch.
If you don't have a fancy machine, what do you tell them to do? Buy a fancy machine?
Yes. Because if you like to do, this makes applique so easy. And I'm going to set my automatic foot where it will raise automatically. I don't have to go back here and raise it with the lever. All I have to do is take my foot off of the pedal.
And the needle stays down and the presser foot comes up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a little mark right in the middle of this foot that tells me where I need to line up the edge of my fabric with. And so I've set my machine at a 3 millimeter, which means it's going to go over 3. That's the width of it, and it's 1.8 stitches between each one. So
you shortened your stitch length and you upped your width.
And I'm going to set my back stitch on, and what it will do, it will tack in place and hold that.
That's a good tip.
Thread in place, so it goes over. See, I can just, in the minute I take my foot off of the presser foot, it raises it, so I can move that anywhere I want to. So I can get a nice angle, and what I'm trying to do is keep that edge of that fabric in between these feet and where that needle's going to hit. And so I can judge it because I can see it, and I take my foot off and move it just a little bit. But do you see how nice tightly that goes? So I'm counting, and when I come to an edge, it goes 1, 2, goes 1, 1, 2, there it goes 2. Some of them do 3, some of them do 4 stitches between. This one's doing 2. I want to show you what I do when I get to a point.
In between, just to know how many you have before you.
So you can count, yeah. Because when I get down to this point, I want to be able to. I don't want it to go off and never land. I want it to be snug to my applique.
This is where I get hung up. Is right
so
here.
I'm going. Okay, now I'm going to stitch 1, 2. I know it's going to go over now. Okay, so it's going to go over. I'm good with that. Then I'm going to stitch 1 stitch, and then I'm going to turn.
And now you know there's one more stitch.
There's one more stitch, and then it'll go over. And I can do that on any corner or any curve so that I can count it, because when you do the other stitch where it goes back and forth, and I can show you the difference. Here's this one. This is the one I don't
This
like.
is just the 1 stitch, blanket stitch.
Yeah, so you go. See how
that one's doubling.
It's doubling, and it's hard to keep it to know, okay, where's the stitch going to go? It really is a hard.
That gives you a really thick stitch too.
Yeah, and now when I'm done with, say I've finished it, I'm going to push my back stitch button. It's going to go down, and it's tacking it. Well, if I turned on my scissors, it would cut it too. It cuts it. Lifts the foot. Now I don't have any threads I have to cut. I can just go to my next piece, because lots of times you have numerous multiple ones around here, and so you can just move on to the next one. You don't have to take your foot out. And this is the difference between the two. Here's the one where it goes over and over and over again. I don't know if you can see that, where it's really thick right here. Okay, and here's the other one which makes a really nice edge.
Mm-hmm.
And it really makes it look finished, and you can get close to it.
This looks like I hand stitched it and I was maybe a little tipsy.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't give as nice a quality. This one where you have to do the ones in between, where it stitches 1 or 2 or 3 stitches. Every model of baby lock that has the blanket stitch on it has a variation of that stitch, and sometimes it's 2 stitches, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4. But every one of their machines, when they start putting the blanket stitch on their machine, there's one where it starts that it will do those. And the feature that I love about the upper end is that automatic foot that comes up and down, that you don't have to sit here and push it up and down with your hand
Okay.
as you go around.
They're all complaining that I'm too wobbly and it's too blurry. So
All
give me
right.
1 sec. And I'm going to
Okay.
make her do that one last time. I think my camera's smudgy.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
I just need to find it. So I do apologize. I'm hand holding my computer here the best I can.
Can you put it over
Probably.
here?
I don't have, this isn't like our classes where we're on tripods. This is a 19-inch computer that I'm holding. So let us try this one more time so you guys can see a little bit better.
When
Put it up
Cindy
here?
and Julian, those guys were showing me how to do this, you told me to get all your points to go inward. You
Yes.
had me imagine a center place.
Okay, that's good. Well, let's
Around
start.
Okay,
first.
so let's try again. I've got it propped on a table so I won't be as jiggly. Sorry about that. I thought I was doing so good.
Okay, I'm going to put my foot down, and I'm going to turn on all my things. So I'm going to, I could start with a new one here. I'm going to start here.
We have a new one. I'll try to get as close as I can, but I mean, this isn't a fancy camera. It's just a laptop.
Okay, how's that? Can you see that better or not?
I
Or do you need to
think-
be up on top?
I can't be on top. It'll shake with the machine, and so will I.
Okay, so I'm starting, and it's going to tack it. It's tacking it. And then
Because you pushed a certain button.
I turned my automatic back stitch on. And on this stitch, instead of going back and forth, it just tacks in place. So I know it secured my blanket stitch to begin with. And as I go, it goes 1, 2, over. And I can vary the width of that. If I want it skinnier, say I want my, I've got a very narrow thing that I have to do. I can make it smaller. Okay, and now when I get down to this edge, I'm going to count 1, 2, over, 1, 2. Now it's going to go over. And if I don't turn it, it's going to come right out into this fabric. So now I know I need to turn it, and I'm going to have it turn like that. And now I'm going to come this way. And I'm trying to keep the edge of this fabric in between my open-toed foot. I don't want it skewed off like this or like this. I need to keep it
It
right
comes
in the
with
middle.
practice.
It comes, you can see with the open-toed foot, you can see exactly where your needle is and what your stitches are. And so as I'm going around the curve, I need to move it a little. So I let up and I move it just a little. And with the presser foot that lifts the foot, when I take it off, when I take the pressure off my controller, I can move it wherever I want. If I don't have that, I've got to lift it up with my lever here.
And you get that on most baby locks from what, like the Elizabeth up?
Yeah, well, the Elizabeth's the old name. Is it
I don't know,
the
there's-
Jubilant?
I think the
They've
lyric and the soprano.
The Soprano has it.
So the soprano on up. And I think there are like brother machines that coincide with that.
Yeah, and I don't know about the other machines. I don't know if they have that same feature or not, but if they do, that is my go-to stitch to do it. It makes things come out so much nicer. As I get down here to this corner, I know where I'm going to go. It's going to go straight.
Cindy is our baby lock girl through and through.
Well, I am.
And that's okay when you find something you love.
It just is user friendly, and it works for me and the things that I want to do with this machine. It saves me time and frustration. I'm not a very patient person.
What?
Hold on. I gotta take notes.
This is brand new information.
I want my equipment to work. And I don't want to have to fuss with it. If I'm going to fuss with it, I'm not going to do it.
Do you know the
not gonna
actual
enjoy it.
name of the stitch? And Godfrey was asking.
I know what it. Oh,
And if I think Anne has the
quilting
Unity
applique stitch.
quilting applique stitch.
And if you have a baby lock,
Q12.
it's in the Q folder. Do you know which folder that is?
I think
on
she
your
does. I think she
machine?
has a Unity, or she used to.
Well, it'll have a Q folder. It's not in your regular stitches. It's in the Q folder. And you go in it, and it's right around number 12 in the Q folder. And it's the quilting applique stitch.
There's a few different stitches, so they just have to figure out which one they like the most.
Well, this one, okay, I'm telling you, this is it.
This is the one. And
This
you
is-
can flip these so they're
Yeah,
mirrored.
I can mirror it and go the other way, but I don't need to with this. And it just does a nice job in applique, and it doesn't look too bulky. And then when I'm stopped, I just push my backstitch button. It tacks it in place. It cuts my thread and lifts my foot, and I can go on to the next piece without having to pull it out and clip it and pull
Nice.
threads back through. I know I have some friends that pull all of their loose threads back through here on everything that they applique, and I thought, oh my heck.
And then they knot
if
them.
I had to do that, I'd never applique.
Because you're very patient.
I am. I'm very
Yeah.
patient. No. They know I'm not.
All right, let's I'm gonna put this down
Was
and
that
I'm gonna
easier?
show. I think so. I can't read the comments from the angle I'm at, but so this was the first one she did. If you can
We'll
see
fold it
this.
up.
No, you don't hold it up. You move the camera down.
Okay.
So she started here originally, and then it was the 1, 2, over, 1, 2, over, 1, 2, over. And then she ended there. This was the second stitch she did that was the double, 1, double, 1. So I don't know. I know this isn't quality camera, but you can kind of see the difference. This looks a little more
It's heavier, thicker,
heavier, thicker,
harder to control when you've got a lot of curves and angles to go around.
but it also looks a little more like hand stitched if you're going for
It's
the,
Bolder.
yes. And this is the one that she just did.
And
So,
you notice that I changed the length
yeah, you
from
did.
here to there. From here to there. You can change it however you want to change it. And there's so many different lengths that you can make with it. You can make big ones or small ones or whatever with that stitch.
Come back over here very smoothly. And there's lots of questions that I think you'll be the best person to answer. Okay. Sorry, my arm.
Yeah. It's hard to hold
Q12.
it
Tana,
still.
if you own the Altair, it was Q12. Or I'm not sure what it is on the Solaris
I think
or the
I think
Destiny.
most of them all are.
Mhm.
Except for I have a small machine, the introduction machine. I don't know if it's a Jubilant now. It used to be Elizabeth, Catherine, and that price range. I have one of those too. And
Come closer so they can actually see you.
I have one of those too. And that one is, you have to look on your key and you look under the Q. There's always a little Q down in the bottom. And those are your quilting stitches. That's what that Q stands for. That's where your 1/4 inch stitches. That's where your piecing stitches. That's where your applique stitches. And they've kind of designated that on baby locks so that anything that has a Q on it are the stitches to go to for doing applique or quilting or piecing. And every machine has a different number. I know on my baby lock is the second folder and it's number 21 on my Elizabeth.
Mhm.
But on my Destiny, it's different.
Linda is asking me to hold it up to the camera. I don't know if this is any better, but so this is the first one you did, right? Man,
Yeah.
if I could figure out how to
Yeah.
hold things up straight.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
this mirrors.
So this is the one over here where the heavy is. Is that where the heavy
Uh-huh.
is? Right here. That's the one that goes back and forth and back and forth. It does a double stitch and it looks heavier, more difficult to control. When you do this stitch, which is the one that has the tiny stitches in between it, it has 2 stitches and then it does the jump stitch, is easier to control because you can count where your needle's going to go. Because lots of times when you have curves and angles and all of that, you get confused and all of a sudden you've got a straight line, a jump stitch out in Never Land where you didn't want it.
Come
but-
closer.
But with that, you can eliminate that problem, and you can go around any shape. And if you've got teeny tiny little shapes, you can make this even tinier to do. So this is the stitch that's versatile, and the things that makes it work are the open-toed foot, and not all machines come with it, but you can buy an open-toed foot.
They're
And
not very much.
no, they're like $10.
Well worth their
I
money.
mean, if you
though.
have to buy like a Bernina foot, it's probably a little more.
Yeah, but I think most of the other machines, in fact, some of the quick disconnect machines that have the claw on it, the Baby Lock one will fit it. And so that to me is worth every penny that you pay for it, because
Just
you can
watch out
actually,
for your finger.
well, you don't stick your finger in between.
Well, I
it.
was getting it in there, and I have little fingers, and
You
I got
do.
a poke.
Ouch.
It did.
Ouch.
Oof, that one did not feel
No.
good.
And the other thing is that what I like about it is it tacks itself. It cuts the thread and brings them around to the back and tacks them,
That's
so
worth
that
a
it
lot.
makes it effortless to use. So look in your manual. If you have a Baby Lock and you haven't used this stitch,
Or
look
a
in your-
brother. I think they're very
yeah,
similar.
they're the same. Look in your machine and see if it doesn't tell you how to do that, and research it and experiment with it a little bit, because I think you'll take the frustration out of some machine applique, if you can use those techniques to do that with.
Yeah. Becky is asking what you put on the back. It was just heat and bond, right?
Yeah, I
So-
just use the heat and bond. There's different quality products out there. There's Steam-A-Seam. There's
You could use the Kimberbell
what's it called?
sticky back or something.
Sticky back. Yeah.
That isn't permanent until you stitch it down, though, but you can move it around. So
Yeah. I just use the heat and bond light, and I found that works. That's the simplest for me to use.
I used something one time and I could not get that paper off.
I used heat and bond featherweight
Oh.
once. That was terrible.
It doesn't stay.
No.
It's too lightweight.
Mhm.
It's too removable. But and this isn't stiff. It's not real stiff. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
And I think it washes up okay, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
well, we can
does.
look at Kyle's quilt.
Yeah.
Don't look at it too close.
Okay, wait 1 second. So, are you guys ready for deal of the day? Does anybody else have any more questions before we move on? It's even more effortless to use it. Yeah, that's a very good point. But not all of us have embroidery machines.
Oh, I know. Well, I have an embroidery machine, and I still do sewing applique too. Some things call for it, some things don't. Some things I like the looks of it, but I use both.
Diane's asking, where should your needle be when you make a turn? Down.
In the needle, down.
Down.
And never.
Or where in the stitch.
That's
In the-
another thing. If you are doing your jump stitch and you go over to your fabric from the outside line, you go over to your fabric.
Your bite.
Don't move your fabric until that
No.
goes back,
Otherwise
because
you'll have a
guess
V.
what? If you do, you're going to get a V. So you never want to move your fabric until it's in its home position, which is along the edge of your fabric.
Cindy, I could probably show them all these things on my quilt, but we're not going to look that close.
We're just going to show Kyle all the examples of where you could have done it better. Then Kyle will never come back with me again.
never
You did
will.
good.
She
Mhm.
does.
Mhm.
And Susan
Don't
says
look
you can
at it.
always do it by
It's-
hand. You absolutely can.
Don't look at it,
It's
Cindy.
so cute.
It's cute.
And
I
Steam
like
Seam Light will also work. Yes, I
Yeah.
like Steam Seam.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a little. I think it's a little heavier though.
Well, they have that new Steam-A-Seam light.
Yeah, but even the lights,
It's too
it's.
heavy.
I like it. It's just a little bit thicker.
Okay.
Okay, Betty Jo has both, but she likes applique, so that's good.
Yeah.